Welcome back to Ration Nerd, everybody. Today we are coming back with the updated version of the Survival Ration Packet General Purpose. We did a much more vintage one of these recently, so if you check over here somewhere, there'll be a link to that video I did of the 2004 version. This is a modern version of the Survival Ration Packet General Purpose. This was produced in 2023 and does not expire until 2028, so everything in here should be perfectly fresh. So let's crack into this thing and see what we have. It says here on the outside we have roughly 2,000 calories. We have 4 bars at 500 calories a piece. We have soup, we have tea, we have sugar and candy, total of 2,117 calories. So that's pretty decent. This weighs in at 1 pound or 16 ounces, so it's slightly heavier than the boxed ration I did in the last video. Let's see what's on the inside. That opens nice. It's in a nice Mylar bag. And the first thing out is your survival bars. So there's a nice vacuum sealed on there. Then you have a package here. And we have a little best if used by date paper in there, which, you know, worse things worse. You could literally use that as some little fire tinder or something like that. We have 2 packs of Domino sugar. We have 1 black tea, so kudos on you for giving a guy something with caffeine in it, but why not coffee? What's with the tea? I mean, seriously, guys? Give our guys some coffee. And then we have, same brand and everything, Herbox chicken bouillon. And we have a pack of Lifesavers. So that's it in this Survival Ration Packet General Purpose. That's the entire contents. We'll get these bars out. Not sure if this is going to be a resealable package. I was kind of hoping that was a resealable package. It almost felt like it, but apparently not. So once you open these up, that's it. So this is different than the last one that had different flavors of bars. Looks like you are just getting 4 individually wrapped bars that are all the same flavor. And it is nice that they're individually wrapped. I don't know how great that wrap is, whether it would stave off moisture or not. Probably not. It's a little thin, but at least it does separate it into 4 different portions. So let's make up that tea. That tea smells like a standard orange pekoe or black tea. So we're just going to have a little glass of tea because we only have a little bit of sugar. Oh, isn't that cute? I guess since we are trying to survive, we should probably have a bit more sugar in that tea. This is going to be like some southern sweet tea style. So we'll let that steep for a minute or 2. And we will crack into one of these ration bars. These look kind of like a Mayday or an SOS bar, if you've ever had one of those emergency food bars. If not, well, these are usually palatable. So depending on how much heat stress the packaging has been under as to what type of flavor profile you will get from the bar, even though these are inside of the expiration date, if that bar has been under a lot of heat stress, it'll still take on a slightly funky flavor. So let's get a bite of this one and see what the condition is. So that's not bad. These are certainly fresh and have not been heat stressed because they don't have any funky flavor. This is kind of like, the best way to describe this would be if you had cookie dough that had way too much margarine or oil in it, and then you only half baked the cookie, and then that cookie dried out. It has a very thick granular sugar texture. It's also very oily from the hydrogenated oils that are put in this to help stabilize it and add fat content to it. This is also going to have a really high carbohydrate content as well as a high fat content. That way you don't need nearly as much water to consume this and for your body to use it for energy. That is definitely going to limit the amount of flavor that it's going to have. All things considered, this would be welcome in an emergency. If you were really hungry, this thing would probably taste, well, pretty damn good. You know, the way these things are mixed up, it's almost as if they're not thoroughly mixed up at the factory where they're made, because some bites of this you can really taste the flour, whereas it should be, you know, all mixed up together and the flour should not have its own real flavor. There are bites of this where you really, really taste the flour, which is kind of strange, but this is not supposed to be a gourmet item. This is a survival item, so if I guess you get a mouthful that tastes like flour, you should probably be pretty happy about it. If you've opened one of these in a survival situation, I think the last thing you're really going to do is complain about, oh, well, these things aren't mixed up good enough. I think you're just going to be happy to have food to eat. And having 2,100 calories in a day, as far as survival food goes, from 1 pound, you know, in 1 pound of carry weight, you have 2,100 calories. Now, if you're really active, extremely active, 2,100 calories might not cut it. But for 16 ounces of weight, you certainly are carrying a lot of energy and calories around with you. The Lifesavers, I would have preferred to see something in this ration that was much more like the Slovenian vitamin energy candies. Those were pleasant, easy to eat, and they had a lot of B and C vitamins, which, if you don't know this, the more carbohydrates you consume, the more vitamin C you need to process those carbohydrates. So that might be part of the purpose of these Lifesavers. Probably have a decent amount of vitamin C in them to help you process all the carbs into energy. However, those Slovenian vitamin energy candies would have been a much better addition, considering these are just flavored sugar, whereas the vitamin energy candies had a lot of different vitamins mixed in with those Smarties-like tablets. So that would be a great idea for a ration like this, but we'll crack into these Lifesavers. Most of you watching are going to know what a Lifesaver tastes like, so describing these is going to be kind of a moot point. But having had one of these before, just because I'm interested and I really wanted to see what one of these rations was all about, these Lifesavers are a little different than the ones you get at the store. The flavors seem to be more of a traditional Lifesaver flavor that I remember from when I was a kid versus the ones that are commercially available in the stores now. I don't know if that's just a, oh, we're a little broken up. I don't know if that's just a trick of the mind, but these certainly taste slightly different to me, and they are really good. So if you've had a Lifesavers, and you probably have, you really know what you're going to experience from this, but they are good and recognizable, at least here in the United States. So certainly a decent comfort item if you're in an emergency situation. I got lucky, got a green one on the end. That's pretty much my favorite flavor of Lifesavers anyway, so that was really good. So we'll give this black tea a try. This didn't smell like it was going to be very strong, so I just wanted to make a small cup of tea. In all fairness, that's a pretty low quality tea. It's passable. It's not great in any way, shape, or form, but it's something warm to get you by, some caffeine if you're a coffee drinker, and you're stuck in a situation where you have no caffeine to keep that caffeine headache away, I would make it in cups this size, and then I would save that tea bag and literally squeeze it out, save it in something, and just keep on brewing that tea bag day after day to try to stave off that caffeine headache. But all in all, this isn't hateful. And this chicken broth, or chicken bouillon, if you don't know what chicken bouillon tastes like, you've been living under a rock. I'm not going to bother with this. I did chicken bouillon in my last review. It literally tastes like chicken bouillon. If you don't know what chicken bouillon tastes like, go out and get you some hot water, mix it up. It just tastes like chicken stock. Not the worst thing you could have in an emergency ration. Again, though, what really bothers me about this ration, two things. First and foremost, even though I want to say coffee as my number one, first one is, yes, this weighs 16 ounces, but you could have put a couple of water purification tablets in that bag and added almost no weight. You could put a tea bag and a coffee packet and a couple of water tablets in there, and it might weigh 16.1 ounces. So it's really no difference. I'd really say if they were smart, they'd add a pack of coffee, they'd add a couple of water purification tablets, and this would be, well, a whole lot better, simply because you'd have a means to purify water. So I guess we'll get back to munching on this emergency cookie, because that's essentially what it is. Well, everybody, thanks for joining me again for the updated version of the Survival Ration Packet General Purpose. If you guys like what I'm doing, please do me a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, talk to me in the chat. I like hearing from you guys. Share the channel with somebody you know that likes goofy stuff like this. Until next time, eat 'em up.